Headline inflation rises to 12.40% in May 2020 from 12.34% in April. Nigeria's foreign reserves dropped by $115 million in 1 week. Finch projects Nigeria's oil export to drop by 50% in 2020, just as global stock markets advance despite geopolitical tensions. You are watching a Business Express, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Amina Nujaiman. Thank you for joining us today. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria this Wednesday shows that Nigeria's foreign reserves fell by $115.26 million in 1 week period between 4th and 11th June 2020. The reserves, which had a balance of $36.56 billion as of 4th May, dropped to $36.45 billion on the 11th of June, translating to a decline of 0.32%. The CBN data revealed that the reserves had maintained a continuous increase from a balance of $33.52 billion on the 30th of April until it started diminishing in early June. And latest inflation figures from the month of May 2020 released this Wednesday by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that headline inflation rose marginally. Inflation climbed to 12.40% in May from 12.34%. Food inflation rose 0.01% to 15.01% in May of 2020 from 15.03% in April. Core inflation stood at 10.12% in May 2020 from 9.98% in April. Highest food increases were recorded in oil, fats, fish, potatoes, yam and other tubers, vegetables, bread, cereals and fruits. Urban inflation on year-on-year basis increased by 13.03% from 13.01%, while rural inflation dropped from 11.83% from 11.73%. On a month-on-month, urban inflation rose 1.18% from 1.06% in April, while rural inflation rose 1.16% from 0.98%. Meanwhile, Nigeria's public finance management reforms is gaining grounds with more ministries, departments and agencies of government keying into it. Benny Adams explains in this report.
Money is said to be a scarce resource, and the management of it is key. Owing to this fact, the federal government introduced the Integrated Financial Management Information System, GIFMIS, an IT-based system for budget management, transparency, and accountability in government business. In the words of Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, more than 800 MDS have keyed into the financial reform, including the armed forces. To ensure full implementation of GIFMIS by the Nigerian Armed Forces and other security agencies, in line with peculiarities of their operations, an inter-ministerial task force was inaugurated.
There is also the concern expressed about the alignment of the GIFMIS operations for the command and control structures of the armed forces as well as the intelligence community and other security services. Thus, the constitution of this task force is purposely to look at these concerns and also collectively find workable solutions such that we are able to move forward.
The task force has a period of 3 weeks to fulfill its task.
Now, most countries around the globe have witnessed reduced economic activity since the outbreak of COVID-19. Elizabeth Yera Lamido in our Surviving COVID-19 series today examines the impact of the pandemic on restaurants in Kano and how their teeming customers are coping with the unusual situation.
The rapid outbreak of COVID-19 presents an alarming health crisis that the world is still grappling with. In addition to the impact on humans, there is also a significant economic impact being felt globally. The coronavirus pandemic has affected the food industry as restaurants and eateries were closed down to help slow the spread of the disease. Here in Kano, fast food joints and restaurants such as this only operate skeletal services, an action which has taken its toll on the business that now operates at a very low capacity as compared to what is obtainable before.
What we are making now is not up to 10% of what we were making before. So it has affected our performance drastically. And this one gives us create a lot of losses to the company.
3 branches of restaurants. We are just left with 1 branch of restaurant that serves as takeaway. So with this, there is no way that we can cover the expenses and the staff salary.
Out of 100%, 25% only we are getting now.
Some customers who patronize these eateries also spoke on their experiences during this lockdown period.
It has been very, very difficult. I have to drive all the way from Maiduguri Road to here, off to Aliu Avenue for me to have a lunch.
At the outset of the lockdown, we had so many places closed. But gradually, when we started having some few days off and on, we had places open.
When the lockdown was implemented, every day I have to go back to my house, which is about 5 to 10 kilometers to my house, to go and eat, then come back to the factory to see what's going on.
As the country still battles with the novel coronavirus pandemic, it is hoped that the restaurant business finds more innovative ways of adapting to these changes for them to make profit.
Now, the move to amend the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act 2010 got a boost last week when the Senate passed a bill to amend the bill past second reading. The bill seeks to amend 38 sections of the Act while introducing 6 new sections. The intent of the bill is to boost local content as well as strengthen the economy by addressing the low level of Nigerian content in the oil and gas sector of the economy, create a regulatory mechanism to monitor and enforce compliance by industry players, and to domesticate substantial part of the oil and gas and exploration production activities within Nigeria. Today, we will be talking about the expectation of the bill to boost local content. Our guest in the studio is an oil and gas expert, Olabode Showimi. Glad to have you on the program. The Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act of 2010 and the content of the bill to amend this content. Tell us a little bit about this.
I think first and fundamentally, the issue of local content has been something that's been of concern to all industries, basically within the developing countries. All mining industries, extractive industries basically within developing countries, primarily because the technology and the capacity to do the extraction and to maximize and exploit the natural resources does not usually lie within those countries. So effectively, it is believed, especially within the petroleum industry particularly, that once you have local people participating, first of all, there is likely and there will be technology transfer. You will have small and medium scale companies being integrated into what is ordinarily a major part of the economy as a source of revenue. You will also have an overall boost within the economy. And it is that thinking that leads to led to the act. It should be understood that until the act came, there was no law restricting them. So you had oil companies importing secretaries to do, to come and do secretarial work. But with the law, there has to be certain amount of local content input within their operations.
Okay, now you've already hinted some of the benefits of the amendment and the act itself. Now, looking at the Nigerian economy as a whole, looking at the bigger picture, what significant role will this development bring to the table?
Now, with every law, as the dynamics in society changes and as the industry evolves, there are certain changes that are needed. It is expected that this law will plug in loopholes, basically areas which either had not been covered or had not been properly thought through with the existing act, and also areas where the industry has evolved. What is most important is the ultimate benefit of Nigeria, the Nigerian worker, and the Nigerian entrepreneur who works within that space. Of course, there is the interest of the foreign investors who are also operating in that area. But these are just basic and key issues that is aimed will help people who are involved in that area so that they can develop entrepreneurial skills, that there can be some amount of technology transfer. And within that, we as Nigerians may be able to transfer some of those services to West African countries and all the other countries within Africa that are starting to develop that are starting to discover oil and gas. So we also move from just applying those services within the Nigerian environment to applying those services within the African environment.
All right, so far all we've been talking about is the oil and gas sector. Is the bill only aimed at the oil and gas sector, or are there other sectors of the economy that it affects?
Well, the bill in terms of direct aim will be for the oil and gas industry. However, in terms of impact, it's going to affect the overall economy, because you're going to expect more SMEs to come up, companies who will be doing fine, who will employ 20, 100 people, and that will have multiplier effects on the economy. So we're going to have reduction in unemployment. That is a basic target. You're going to have increased revenues that will be coming in, both in terms of forex and in terms of the local currency. So in terms of the multiplier effects, it's quite huge, and there are different service-oriented companies that will come in, because once this company comes in, they're going to need lawyers to sign their contracts, they're going to need accountants to help them look into their financial books, they're going to need other people who are going to offer those services. When their workers go out, they're going to need food services for all those things. So they're going to have serious multiplier effects in every single place where they're working in, which ultimately is to the benefit of our economy as a whole.
All right, that sounds like a good development, a multiplier effect trickling down to generally the Nigerian economy. Now I'm going to digress a little bit. We're talking about the bill.
Yes.
The prices of oil has been dwindling. Very interesting times in the prices. Is there a relationship with this bill, the amendment, the act, and the prices of oil currently?
No, to the best of my knowledge, there is none, because the local content bill has to is basically talking about the activities, the exploration, and the operational activities in the industry, both at upstream, midstream, and downstream. The price of oil is trading, which basically is a commodity issue, and the factors that affect the price of oil are global. The factors affecting local content, like the name implies, are purely local.
Okay, so what scenario do you see playing out post-COVID-19?
To be honest, post-COVID-19, nobody really knows. We're going to assume and we're going to make extrapolations.
So
but in terms of, yes.
Based on assumption, what should we expect?
Based on the extrapolations, we're going to expect increased activity. One of the first places that I believe activities will surge will be in the petroleum sector. Primarily because once COVID ends, people are going to leave their houses and they are going to drive their cars to work or wherever it is they're going to. They're going to go to the airport and they're going to fly. In all these places, you are going to need oil and gas to move it. They're going to need more gas, whether it's in terms of LPG, in terms of driving power, the need is there, very visible to us. So in terms of the activities, we're going to see more activities, and I believe that the industry is going to be one of the very first to receive life. As we've seen, even with the little activities that have started happening, pending the eventual erasing of the lockdown, we have already started seeing increase in increase in the prices, and we expect that it will be that way until we reach a crescendo, which will be where the forces of demand and supply will meet. Will even out.
Talking about recent developments, we have the latest figure by the National Bureau of Statistics, which says that inflation has risen to 12.40%. Previously, it was 12.34%. Now, with these figures, what are your thoughts concerning the developments all put together?
With respect to inflation, the key thing in terms of managing, and I'm speaking now not as an expert in economics, but in terms of development with respect to how we are productive in terms of productive development. Once we get into the production mode and we start to either export our services and start to export products, we are going to necessarily see more forex coming in, and that will balance out the demand for forex, which is one of the main drivers for inflation. So basically, with our increase in production, with effectiveness in terms of our ability to export services and export products, we will see inflation significantly reduce.
Now, in terms of oil prices and the current inflation figures, what picture do you see?
The oil prices will help us with income. That's definitely true. So in terms of simple logic, with greater increase in oil prices will mean greater forex. With greater forex means that we're able to service our debts. It means we're able to implement capital projects. It means that we're able to do some of the things that we need to do. And in doing the basic things that we need to do, we will see inflation figures going down. So for Nigeria, primarily because we're a producing nation, all other things being equal, every measure of increase in the oil price will lead to a decrease in inflation figures.
So what you are saying is there a relationship between inflation and the prices of oil and gas?
Not a direct relationship, but there is a relationship to the extent that about 75% of our forex comes in from oil and gas. And our forex demands is one of the key factors of inflation, primarily because we're purchasing a demand-driven economy, a purchasing economy, and greater capacity to purchase means that there will be less pressure on the forex. So naturally, once there's increase in fuel prices, there's increase in forex, and automatically decrease in inflation figures.
Olabode Showomi, and oil and gas experts, thank you so much for your insights, and thanks for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Now, moving on. Food prices increased in Nigeria as inflation figures for the month of May has shown. We have a graphic summary of commodity prices. For how stocks are performing across the globe, let's join Abosede Abel.
U.S. stock futures showed the market continued to move higher on Wednesday, 17th June, following a big rally in the previous session that was driven by a growing belief the worst may be over for the U.S. Dow Jones indicated a gain of about 17 points at the open. S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite futures also pointed to a higher open. European stocks also gained in early trading as optimism persists over a potential economic recovery, while markets also kept an eye on geopolitical tensions. Stocks in Asia were mostly higher. As the International Monetary Fund said, the global economy is set to see a more significant contraction than it previously forecast. Hang Seng Index rose 0.56% as of its final hour of trading. Shanghai Composite 0.14%, while Nikkei shed 0.56% to close at 22,455.76. Africa stocks traded mixed. Nairobi's all-share advanced 1.04%, and South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 also rose 2.76%, while Namibia's overall index, Tunisia's Tunidex, and Ghana's GSE Composite depreciated.
Thank you, Bosede. And on the currency market, the Naira lost 0.75 against the dollar this Wednesday. The Central Bank of Nigeria's exchange rate currently stands at 360 Naira to a dollar. Let's see the latest exchange rates. And that is it on this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations and suggestions coming. Be informed, all previous episodes are available on YouTube on NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is NTA News. Now, don't forget the hashtag BizExp. Remember, always wash your hands with soap on the running water or use a sanitizer as the world battles COVID-19. Business Express returns on Friday. Join us then. I am Amina Nujeng.